So Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Kyiv. He's slated to meet Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky very shortly. This comes in the backdrop of the ongoing war between Ukraine and Russia, which has seen in fact quite an increase in the hostilities over the past couple of months or so, especially after Ukraine's offensive in the Kursk region in Russia. Even as heavy firing is underway, it is the people of Ukraine and Russia who are suffering. Meanwhile, the world's eyes are on this particular visit. Of course, the larger question being, will India manage to broker some sort of a peace between Ukraine and Russia? Prime Minister Modi has been to Moscow in July this year itself. The Kremlin rolled out the red carpet. PM Modi held a slew of bilaterals with Russian President Vladimir Putin in July, and there itself he had carried forth the message that he has been in fact reiterating since 2022, that this is not an era for war. A solution cannot be found on the battlefield, and dialogue and diplomacy is must in order to ensure that a resolution takes place at the earliest. In fact, PM Modi had met Zelensky in June at the sidelines of the G7 summit in Italy, and now of course one day before Ukraine's National Day, he is landed in Kyiv. He will be meeting Zelensky very shortly. Of course, all eyes on what exactly the Prime Minister will say, what will be the outcomes of the meeting that will take place. There will be a one-on-one conversation as well as larger delegation level talks as well. Meanwhile, a stark difference between India and the other world powers, especially on how they responded to the conflict, is very obvious. Western countries have responded to the larger conflict by terming Russia's actions as an invasion and ramping up their aid to the Ukrainian armed forces and weapons. In particular, the supply has been increased in order to counter Russia's armored brigades. The US and the UK have supplied thousands of Javelin and NLAW anti-tank missiles. And in fact, Western nations have also sent Ukraine several types of air defense systems as well. These range from the UK's short-range anti-aircraft weapons, Starstreak, to the Patriot missile system. In fact, the United States of America has just cleared another tranche of $125 million to Ukraine itself. This was cleared just about a day back, and this brings the total aid, the total spending by the US government in this war to $55 billion. That is quite a staggering amount. Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused Western countries of adding fuel to fire by funding the conflict in the region, and especially via the supply of long-range weapons to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi has in fact constantly reiterated that peace is of utmost importance, something he had told to President Putin back in Moscow, and something he had also told President Zelensky on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Italy in June. He stated that India will extend all help possible in order to ensure that peace can be realized as soon as possible, that a solution to the war is fought, that is being fought can be found, especially via dialogue and diplomacy. We've seen a peace summit take place in Switzerland in June itself, where notably Russia was absent from the negotiating table. India, of course, refused to sign the joint communique back then, citing this, and there are efforts in order to bring the countries at least to the table to make sure that at least dialogue is established. Meanwhile, of course, we've seen how the hostilities are increasing. And speaking of the hostilities, I'd like to present a little picture to our viewers. I have something open on my screens. This is a map that I have that showcases the larger picture as far as the war in Ukraine is concerned. If we can reflect that on the screens, yes, right there you can see there are some areas that are shaded red, some that are shaded blue. Now those that are shaded red is reflective of the Russian advance in Ukraine. You can clearly see the Crimean Peninsula over here. You can see Kharkiv over here, Donetsk over here, as well as Kherson over here as well. Some of the very crucial regions where the war is still underway. Also the Zaporizhia Oblast region, where the nuclear plant is located, another point of contention between Russia and Ukraine, and a point of international concern as well. Mariupol is over here, where of course the battle, the early days of the battle has seen a lot of loss of lives over here in particular. Apart from this, the blue areas that you see on the map right here up near Sumy and somewhere near Kherson and Zaporizhia in particular, these are the areas that are controlled by Ukraine itself. You can in fact see the area over here in particular near Sumy. This is right next to the Kursk region. Now what's important and interesting about Kursk in particular is that the Ukrainian army has recently, just a few months back, launched an offensive into this region in particular. Heavy shelling through mortars as well as via drones is taking place over there. These are of course American made drones that are being supplied to Ukraine, and here to give a perspective, Kiev is located where I am circling my cursor. This is Kiev and this right here is Kursk, not very far away. So of course this is the latest as far as the war is concerned, a picture into what exactly is going on, what are the key regions, Luhansk, Donetsk, Mariupol, the Oblast region, they're all currently, Crimea of course, all currently under the control of Russia, Kharkiv as well, where considerable fighting is taking place. Meanwhile, Ukrainians are gaining ground in Kursk region. They are maintaining their defenses along the Zaporizhia, particularly near the nuclear plant as well. The war of course continues to escalate. Even as the days go by. It's been 900 days since the war has commenced and people are still losing their lives. And speaking of the change, let's also in fact take a look at how exactly and what exactly is the difference in approach between India and other Western countries in particular as far as this war is concerned. We have in fact, let's take a look at the US approach to the Ukraine war in particular. The US Congress has voted through 5 bills to provide Ukraine with a considerable amount of aid. As I mentioned before, this aid now stands at US dollars 55.7 billion cumulatively. Here of course 175 billion is the larger number as far as it's a larger aid to other countries is concerned. Ukraine in particular is 55.7 billion. There is aid that they're also giving to Israel as well, that is of course accounted for in the statistic over here. Meanwhile, delivered or committed weapons and equipments worth 46.2 billion to Ukraine. So we're talking about the anti-tank missiles in particular that Ukraine is using, the drones that Ukraine is using as well. Meanwhile, let's take a look at how China is approaching the conflict. China has in fact proposed a 12-point paper plan for ending this particular war. Xi Jinping also in fact looking at paying peace broker, but China has called for a cooling down of the situation and conditions for restoring peace as well. Even as we speak, the Chinese Prime Minister is in Russia and Belarus. He is visiting Russia and Belarus as PM Modi is of course touring Central Europe, that is Poland and Ukraine. China and Russia focusing on deepening the bilateral ties amid a war with Ukraine. It is obvious to see that a pivot or a Russian pivot towards China is taking place. Closer cooperations as far as manufacturing, particularly defense manufacturing is concerned, and technological transfer of equipment to Russia, that has also seen an increase in the last few years, especially since the Ukraine-Russia war had commenced. Let's also take a look now at India's approach to the conflict. Prime Minister Modi in 2022 had emphasized that today's era is not that of war. This is a statement that is, of course, stood the test of time over the last 900 days. India continuously reiterating its stance. We have not wavered from our stance. In particular, India and Prime Minister Modi have gone on to state that India will continue, in fact, extending a helping hand as far as reaching a solution to this conflict is concerned. The solution is not on the battlefield but via dialogue, via diplomacy. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Modi has also met the Indian diaspora in Ukraine. They've all gathered very enthusiastically at the Hyatt Regency Hotel where the PM is staying to catch a glimpse of him. He's met the Indian community members as well as those who are native Ukrainians. They were all lined up, eager to click a photograph, to catch a glimpse of the Prime Minister, interact with him as he arrives in Ukraine. Let's in fact listen in to what some of the diaspora members have to say.
मैं आज यहाँ पे आया हूँ, ये हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी यहाँ पर आए हैं। मैं उनको प्राउड, उन्होंने हमें प्राउड करवाया है कि प्राउड टू बी इंडियन एंड मैं और यहाँ एक्साइटेड हूँ बहुत देखने के लिए। और ये जो मीटिंग है आज की, जैसे हमारे नरेंद्र मोदी जी की जो फर्स्ट डे से हमारा एम जो था उनका वॉर को स्टॉप करवाना है, और मैं अगर मेरी चांस अभी मुझे मिला तो मैं इसी टॉपिक पे बात करूँगा अगर मुझे चांस मिला तो। ये सोचने वाली बात है। इंडिया से पहले दफ़े मेरे होश में आज तक कोई नहीं सुना, मैंने नहीं कभी सुना था, ना कभी मैंने जाना था। आने से पहले किसी को पता भी नहीं था यूक्रेन है, मगर हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर नरेंद्र मोदी जी आज यहाँ पर आए हैं और ये स्टेप बहुत बड़ा रहा है। और पूरे वर्ल्ड में रिलेशन तो बहुत अच्छे ही हैं, अब यूक्रेन के साथ भी अच्छे हैं। तो यहाँ पे हमारी जो कम्युनिटी थी, पहले इंडियन कम्युनिटी पे 18,000 कुछ बच्चे थे यहाँ पे। उस टाइम पे इन्होंने वाला मिशन, गंगा मिशन चालू करके उस टाइम से हमारी मदद कर रहे हैं ये हमारी गवर्नमेंट। तो मैं थैंक यू सो मच बोलना चाहता हूँ।
मैं भी जयपुर से आया हुआ हूँ, काफ़ी दूर से हम लोग ट्रेवल करके आए हैं स्पेशली हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर से मिलने के लिए। और काफ़ी एक्साइटेड है हम लोग इस चीज़ के लिए, क्योंकि अगर हम इंडिया में रहते तो शायद मुश्किल होता शायद मोदी से इतना नज़दीक से देखने का और मिलने का। बट यहाँ एक अपॉर्चुनिटी है कि हम उनको बहुत पास से देखेंगे और हो सकता है अगर बात करने का मौका मिला तो बात कर लेंगे।
क्या बात करेंगे?
पता नहीं, ये नहीं कह सकते क्या बात करेंगे, क्योंकि वो अभी नर्वसनेस बहुत ज़्यादा होगा। हम अपने प्राइम मिनिस्टर से मिल रहे हैं, बट होपफुली देखेंगे उस टाइम क्या होता है, कैसे वो शायद वही बात करेंगे तो हम लोग उसके अकॉर्डिंग रिप्लाई कर देंगे, यही हो सकता है।
यूक्रेन जो है इंडिया के नज़रिए से भी हाई पोटेंशियल कंट्री है, जहाँ पे काफ़ी बिजनेस डेवलप किया जा सकता है। बट बिकॉज ऑफ दिस वॉर इट हैज़ कम टू अ स्टॉप। इट वाज ग्रोइंग वेरी वेल, काफ़ी तेज़ी से बढ़ रहा था यूक्रेन और इंडिया का बिज़नेस, लेकिन इस वॉर की वजह से ये सब रुक गया है। तो वॉर तो ख़त्म होने के बाद डेफिनेटली, आज आपको पता होगा कि ओडेसा से शिप्स का जाना या हमारे सामान जो भी हम लोग इंपोर्ट करते थे इंडिया से यूक्रेन के लिए, हमारा सारा सामान ओडेसा पोर्ट पे आता था। आज सारा सामान पोलैंड के थ्रू घूम करके आता है, जिसमें कि कॉस्ट जो है वो इट बिकम्स 3 टाइम्स और 4 टाइम्स। और सामान आने में भी अगर 20 दिन का ट्रांजिट पीरियड था तो आज 60 दिन का ट्रांजिट पीरियड है। तो बिजनेस इज डेफिनेटली सफरिंग अ लॉट। तो अगर ये शांति पहल हो जाती है या इनके स्टेप से, जो हम लोगों को बहुत सारी उम्मीदें हैं मोदी जी से, इफ़ ही इज़ एबल टू डू which we are hoping, we have high hopes that he is coming with some special proposal to our president Mr. Zelensky.
आप मोदी जी से मुलाकात कर पाए?
जी बिल्कुल, मैं गुजरात से हूँ, तो उन्होंने शेक हैंड किया और मैंने सिर्फ इतने लोग थे तो इतना तो टाइम नहीं दिया, बट मैंने पूछा केम छो साहब, तो उन्होंने बोला मजामा पहला। सो बहुत अच्छा लगा, बहुत प्यार से सबको मिले। 10 घंटे के इतने जर्नी के बाद भी वो इतने फ्रेश थे, इतने एनर्जिक थे, तो बहुत अच्छा लगा।
आपको कैसा लगता है फैसला जब वो ये युद्ध के इस देश में आने का फैसला किया था? आपको लगता है बहुत बड़ा साहस?
बहुत साहसिक है, बिल्कुल।
आपका नाम?
मनन।
थैंक यू।
थैंक यू।
मोदी जी फाइनली कीव आ गए।
All right, viewers, there of course you've heard some of the members of the diaspora community in Ukraine, of course expressing their enthusiasm, relaying what exactly was the moment like when they had met the Prime Minister. You can see some of those visuals on the screen as well. PM Modi greeting, interacting with people who are all smiles over there. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Sanjeev Srivastav, international affairs expert. Sir, good afternoon. Thank you for speaking to us. We of course spoke in the run-up to the Prime Minister's visit. Now he has landed there. He's held, of course, he's greeted the people, all those people who are waiting for him. A lot of them are members of the Indian diaspora community. Some of them are, of course, native Ukrainians as well. But this is a tradition that the PM has kept alive ever since he was sworn in 10 years ago. He's gone out of his way every single time whenever he lands in a city on foreign soil to make sure that the first thing that he does after landing is greet the people who have come out to meet him, come out to catch a glimpse of him, whether it is here in Kiev, earlier in Moscow, before that in Paris, and even before that in Sydney or Papua New Guinea, Hiroshima, Houston, New York. We've seen this outreach of Prime Minister Modi to the diaspora. Do you think this carries a larger message that this government is making sure that no Indian will be left behind?
Certainly, Pia, I think this is a message which is there for the entire Indian diaspora, wherever they are in the world. And our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, and his foreign policy has been pursuing this approach that whenever he goes any country, wherever he visits, he makes sure that he gets connected with the people out there. And India is having enormous influence in the international community. Indian diaspora, Indian origin people are everywhere around the world. And those people are obviously very much connected to their motherland. And when the leader of India, the leader of their motherland, goes there and meet those people, they feel very much encouraged to contribute even more for their motherland. And that's what we have seen. India is a country which gets the highest remittances in the world, and the people of Indian diaspora, they are contributing enormously in making India richer, more prosperous, and also they are contributing enormously to make India's relationship with the world better and better. So we have seen this in the United States of America, in Europe, in Australia, in African countries, everywhere. Indian diaspora is there, and Prime Minister Modi gets connected with them whenever he lands in any country. So this is the main feature, one of the most highlighting features of Prime Minister Modi's foreign policy, that he gets connected with the Indian diaspora. And this is, I hope that this kind of a practice, India will never give up, and it will continue in times ahead. It will get even better. So I think this kind of new initiative which the Prime Minister Modi took when he assumed power in 2014 onwards has given enormous dividend. And India's image is getting more and more powerful, more and more influential. India is currently seen as a leader. Prime Minister Modi's image at this point of time is of a world leader. He is contributing enormously, and when he is in Ukraine, entire world is watching that what kind of a role, even if it is from the back channel side, India is playing enormously a significant role in bringing about conflicting parties together. And whenever any dialogue takes place between Russia and Ukraine in times ahead, India's contribution will always be there, and that is quite sure.
Indeed, sir, you have aptly put it. This is reflective of India's growing stature in the world as well. The confidence of our diaspora reinstilling, of course, reinstilling once again that yes, we are there for them.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.